Let's talk about If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. This video is following the last 4 Read With Me videos on Thursdays. And be aware, this video contains spoilers to the whole book because I want to discuss it with you and I really need to talk about it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this video and maybe come back later. But if you are interested to discuss this book or want to know more, this is the right place. So before I talk about the book itself, let's talk about my expectations for If You Had Been With Me, because I haven't read the synopsis, I haven't read anything. I just assumed some things on the things I've heard about If He Had Been With Me, and I expected a super sad and super deep story that will break my heart, that will make me cry more than once, and that will leave me no other choice to give it 5 stars. But that is not the case. So 100 pages before the end, I was already totally prepared to talk about this book and tell you that this was completely not what I expected. But this changed a bit, but not in a good way. But before we come to this, let's talk about the story itself. This is the story of Autumn. She's a teenage girl, and we go with her through her high school years. So we see how she's growing up, how she finds new friends, how she finds her first love, how she deals with problems at home, and with the fact that she and her former best friend, Finny, grow apart over the years and she misses him, even if she still has a lot of contact with him because the mothers are best friends and they are like one family because they also live in houses beside each other, so they are neighbors. But in middle school, they grew apart, and now in high school, they have two different groups of friends and have nothing to do with each other. So it is a difficult situation. But even as Autumn has her first boyfriend, I could clearly see as a reader that she has feelings for Finny and that she fell in love with him and wants to be with him, even at a point where she wasn't aware of it herself. The whole book is written from her POV, but you can also read his POV, so Finny's book, which is book 2 of this duology. I'm not really sure what the title was. I think If I Have Talked to Her. Please look it up if you are interested in it, because I could be wrong. And while reading Autumn's POV, I thought about reading the second book from his POV to get more in depth with his feelings, with his thoughts, and what he experienced in high school. But then we came to the end of If He Had Been With Me, and everything about him was shortly explained. So that he was in love with her the whole time, that he thought she found out, and that's why they grew apart. And the only thing I hope about book 2 is that it goes more in depth with what happened to his girlfriend. I forgot her name, I'm sorry. But if you have read this book, you probably know what I mean. It was just 1 or 2 sentences, but it was a really, really important topic. And I hope they talk about this in the second book. And while we are talking about important topics, this book also has a focus on depression, on therapy, on teenage pregnancy, not experienced by our female main character, but by someone else. We have the topic of drinking alcohol for the first time, and of course, having sex for the first time. And I think that topic was really well done. I was not content with everything, but I really thought it was good to see that Autumn wasn't ready to have sex, and her boyfriend, over all these years they were together, waited for her, didn't pressure her, at least not what I have seen in this book. And yes, it didn't end well in the end, but before this, he was a really good boyfriend and I liked him. And of course, we have a happy end for Finny and Autumn in the end. They finally talk about everything. They have sex with each other, which I'm not totally happy about because of these circumstances and because they didn't use protection. It was talked about it in the scene, but Autumn said, "No, don't worry about it." And yeah, that is not cool. But I was totally fine with the end. If this book would have ended 10 pages earlier, because the last 10 pages, I wanted to throw this book out the window. And that is what I want to talk about the most, because what the fuck was that? I mean, as I said before, I expected something sad, but not all pressured into 10 pages before the end. Because in 10 pages, Finny died in a car accident. I think we also had the funeral. Then, weeks later, Autumn tried to kill herself and landed in the hospital, where she finds out that she is pregnant. That leads to her decision that she no longer wants to kill herself because Finny wouldn't want that under these circumstances. And then the book ends. Excuse me? All of what happened in these 10 pages could have been a whole second book, because you can't go in depth with any of these situations when you all cram this into 10 pages. There were no feelings on my end besides shock that this all happened. I couldn't feel the grief. I couldn't feel how desperate she was because there was no time at all to process everything. And I am super disappointed about that and can't understand why this book is such a hype. So, personally, I can't give If He Had Been With Me more than 3 stars. It was okay to me. I would have given it a little better rating without these last 10 pages. And I'm still glad that I've read it now. But all in all, it wasn't the book that I've expected. It wasn't the book I wanted. And without the last 10 pages, it would have been a super cute young adult story with the topic of finding love, falling in love with the best friend, and growing up, going through difficult situations, and discussing important topics like depression. But this end destroyed it for me. And even a week after I finished the book, I'm super sad about this end, because either delete these 10 pages, please, or write it in depth with everything. So, write a second book about everything that happened after this one, and not a second book from Finny's POV that I don't want to read anymore. So I will DNF the series now, as sad as it is. And if you have read the book, please tell me in the comments what you think of If He Had Been With Me. Did you like it? What have you liked? What disappointed you? I can't wait to read your comments. Please like the video if you wanna follow my channel. And before I end the video, I will tell you which book I will read next in my Thursday Read With Me videos. And I decided to read a book that really intimidates me. It is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, a literary fiction novel that is quite chunky, over 700 pages. I loved The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I didn't like The Little Friend, so I'm curious how I will feel about The Goldfinch now. Fingers are crossed that I will also love it, but we will see about that. I parted my reading journey into 11 parts, so I will read The Goldfinch over the next 11 weeks. You can keep me company if you want and read the book with me, or you can read something completely different. That is up to you. But for now, this is it. I will see you in the next video. Bye!